Look at the size of this. This has got to be too much for us. It's just, whoa!
Everyone,
Konnichiwa Intelligence, welcome to my Bravely Default 2 tips for beginners. These will actually work for even people that aren't beginners, many of them at least anyway. So if you want more of this content, do subscribe, like, leave a comment below, and let's start. Tip number 1, save early and often, and I mean it. This game can have points in it where you just get nuked straight away by a boss, a random enemy or something that you found just hitting a tree. So be absolutely careful, save as much as you can. There's no penalty for saving, there's no achievements to worry about. Save, you'll thank me later. Beginner's tip number 2. And many of these tips that I'm going to give you are going to negate the need to buy many an item that you could purchase at the start. But the main thing you want to start with if you're going to buy anything is probably the magnifying glass. Otherwise, as you're going to see with the rest of these tips, it's going to be pretty optional. Tip number 3 is mowing and bashing the environment. It's a good way of finding secrets as well as random drops like dollar or even orbs that can boost your job points. It's really worth doing. Do remember though that the environment does respawn once you transition to different places and so forth, so you don't have to go nuts and get every single piece of bush and grass everywhere in the world. But hit every now and then, and if you see anything that looks conspicuous, is that the right word? Hit it. But make sure you save first, trust me. If it looks interesting, whack it. Beginner's tip number 4, set your passive abilities ASAP. Now remember, these do not activate automatically, you have to set them yourself. And you want to set them as quickly as possible. For instance, one of the first abilities that you get is the ability to find out how many treasures remain on the overworld map area that you're in. Very useful, you might as well put it on right away. Do it. And do remember that you can still set or have an active passive on even if it's not set as your main or sub job, which leads us nicely into tip number 5. Tip 5, set your sub jobs. And these are basically jobs that you can have as a secondary to your main, but they do not, I repeat, they do not level. Only the main job levels. So if you finish leveling a skill, and I think the level max is 12. So if you're already at 12, then you can put it in the sub slot, your sub job slot, rather than your main slot, because you're not leveling it on it anyway. But make sure that you actually set something in your sub jobs. There's a free slot for you to have free abilities that you can use while active in combat. The passives will still be able to be filled, but the combat stuff can only be used when it's either as a main or a sub. Just remember, the sub stuff do not level. If it's already leveled to max, there's no reason not to put it in your sub if you want to use it. Tip number 6 is to set, spam and abuse the forage ability. This is one of the major abilities in the early game that's really important, and it's from the freelance job tree essentially. This could potentially be great for farming, saving money, or gaining virtual freebies every turn really, because you can get things like JP orbs, which allow you to get free job points as a consumable. I've gotten 2 or 3 of those in a row in a session while fighting. And it's an ability you use while fighting. So when you're in combat, if you know you can defeat the enemy without taking too much damage or taking any damage at all, when you're overclocking on the Brave ability, going into like 4 attacks, you can use 2 or 3 of those, for instance, to just do foraging, and you'll get something every time you do it. It could be a potion, it could be an ether for your MP, or it could be a consumable JP orb or a speed increase for your stats or anything. It's worth doing. Definitely use it whenever you can. Spam it. You'll save a bunch of money, you'll get a bunch of stuff. Maybe weapons, all kinds of cool stuff. Have we ever got a weapon using the forage ability? Anyway, definitely items. JP orbs in themselves are worth it, so you can upgrade those job points and get those abilities leveled up quicker. That's one of my big tips right there. Still more to come though. Tip number 7 is speeding up the grind. So when you're in combat, you can do a few things to help speed up the process, because you will need to grind in this game. So first of all, you can use the right shoulder button to skip any animations or what have you that start at the beginning of combat. Then you can press your plus button to change the speed up to 4 levels. And it really helps. It's going to really save you time, get through the enemies quickly when you've already mastered an area, and just kind of get those levels going a lot quicker. And 8 kind of leads into that, which we're going to go into next. So for tip 8, you can use the repeat action by pressing your Y button during combat. This will allow you to repeat the last actions for each character that you're using. So you can have up to, like, say 4 attacks going at the start of your turn, or maybe 3 attacks and 1 forage. Gets free item while you're doing it. Just hit that Y button, press the actions, combining that with the speeding up method, and you're going to be flying through these grind sessions. Really, really handy, and definitely a quality of life thing that many JRPG will be less tedious with. So utilize it. In tip 9, input tips. Press minus button to get to the save menu quicker. Will save you a couple of presses for sure, so definitely get used to pressing that. Keep pressing the wrong thing. Don't do as I do as I say. B button can also be used as your run instead of ZX button. That's the right trigger if you're not into that. An X button can be used in the main menu to auto heal if you have consumables that can heal you. Tip number 10. Flee! Do not be afraid to run away if you need to, guys. It's better than just being brown bread and dead. So essentially as well, one thing you can do is you can actually still scan an enemy, get the intel, and then get out, even if 2 or 3 of you get dropped. As long as one of you gets out, you still got the intel, and you can use that intel in the lore monster guide section to find special creatures or bosses that you may have found in the world, but don't necessarily know their location, as you don't get to pay anything on the map or anything like that. So you can use that as a way to be like, I don't know, Google or Bing or whatever search engine you like, search later. As long as you got the name of the enemy that you found, creature or what have you, it'll be easy to find again. You still get the intel, and you can jot down your notes, how much health and how much damage you're doing, and you can still get out. And generally it's just good to run away sometimes. It's just the way life be, you know. All ye still here and stayed all the way to the end, thank you for the watch time. Bonus tip for you: explore, enjoy the game, try different things, see what happens, and watch one of the Very Default 2 videos on the screen right now. Like the unboxing or the review one if I've already recorded it. Subscribe, comment below, and share some pigs if you have them. Pigs are meant to be the currency in this game, and yeah, share the pigs on the Patreon. Cheers.